Two tankers are ablaze off a critical European waterway. And we got troubling new information on the National Guard shooter, linking him to previous terrorists as well as the CIA. We got major beef plants shutting down, grain plants shutting down, all within a matter of days. And Peru declaring a state of emergency along their border as Chile starts cleaning house. Big news story down there. Apparently also Mexican truckers are blockading U.S. ports of entry, keeping Mexican goods out of America. So I guess thank you, but this is already affecting produce availability across the United States. The WHO is preaching about infertility. Talk about zero self-awareness there. No, not able to read the room at all. And a toilet crisis at the Tokyo airport has people very uncomfortable. Hopefully you guys are doing good this Saturday morning. We got a lot to cover in this Watchmen update. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates. If you have something to share, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That does get it to the right place. We also do want to thank our sponsors, Genesis Gold Group. They help people with retirement accounts. If you have stocks, bonds in your IRA or your 401k, and you're tired of gambling in the stock market, if you want to get into something safer, something that continues to go up, like precious metals, silver just hitting an all-time high yesterday, then you might want to talk to Jonathan and his team. If you do, there's a link at the end of the video. You get some free resources, and they will reach out to you and answer your questions. No obligation to move forward. All right, silver hitting an all-time high on the futures market, hitting $57.24 per ounce. It was just like a few days ago, it seems like, that it was at $20 an ounce. And I was saying, hey, this would be a good opportunity for you to buy the dip. And now it's $57. That's up even more than the stock market is since then. So think about that, right? All right, so one of the two National Guard soldiers shot in the targeted attack near the White House this week has perished. The 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom did not make it, while the second is fighting for his life. This is from President Trump's announcement. Now, some more troubling details have come out about this. There's some conspiracy questions out there, too, about Google searches. I won't get into that just now, but if you want to look into that yourself, that's enough information for you to Google it. Anyway, but the shooter was linked to the CIA, served with the CIA and special operations teams over in Afghanistan, and also just happened to come from the same Washington State city. Yeah, Washington State. He crossed the entire country, Washington State to Washington, D.C., but the same city as the D.C. sniper. And both of them were waging jihad. So, I don't know. Is there a connection there? Well, it sure does seem a little bit unlikely, doesn't it? They sure seem to be doing basically the same thing, one a little more competently than the other. Anyway, moving over to Europe, we got some big news out there. Two Russian oil tankers ablaze. And you go, okay, well, that happens in a war zone. In Turkish waters, Turkey's Bosphorus Strait, which is how you get into the Black Sea and out, is a very important waterway. It's sort of like the English Channel. It's definitely an international waterway. It kind of belongs to a couple countries. The Bosphorus Strait belongs to Turkey, but there's a whole bunch of treaties and stuff like that everyone has signed. And you're not supposed to be blowing up ships near the Bosphorus Strait. That's kind of a serious problem there. Now, we're being told, at least initially, that these two oil tankers almost simultaneously hit different sea mines that had happened to drift 400 miles off the Ukrainian coast. Sure they did. Yeah, okay, so they floated 400 miles and then simultaneously hit two separate tankers. That doesn't smell right. If you believe that, then you probably believe that the Russians blew up their own Nord Stream pipeline. Okay, it's absolutely insane, actually. But anyway, the crew on both ships have been rescued. But this is looking more like it was missiles or more likely drone boats. It looks like Ukrainian drone boats may have crossed the Black Sea and gone after tankers in Turkish waters, which up till now have been safe havens. The Russians haven't escorted their ships until after they left Turkish waters. So basically, Turkey is now a war zone, and they're not liking that one bit. We'll see how this goes over the next hours and days. Those oil spills are going to impact potentially the coastline of Turkey. Peru out there declaring a state of emergency over expected migrant surge at the Chile border. So they're afraid they're going to get a whole bunch of people coming across the border. This is after Chile. It looks like it's going to be electing a centrist who will enforce their immigration laws. Jose Antonio Cast. Now, if you read in mainstream media or listen to mainstream media, they'll tell you that he is a hard right, blah, blah, blah. No. You got the communist, like literally the Communist Party, and then you have the Republican Party. Okay, and Jose Antonio Cast is saying that he's going to enforce the immigration laws of Chile. So yes, Jose will be getting rid of the illegals, and Peru is very worried because they think they're going to get a whole bunch of people back. Gee, wonder who's guilty here. WHO, the World Health Organization, published for the first time directives to improve the prevention, detection, and treatment of infertility, which affects millions across the globe. Anyone want to talk about how the poke impacted infertility? Anyone? Anyone are we allowed to talk about that here? There's studies out there that show that people who got the poke can't have the kids. A large number of them, which we were talking about that as a conspiracy thought a long time ago, and a lot of people in our sphere were talking about that from the very get-go, that the reason why they really wanted to poke everybody was because they wanted to drop the world population down significantly. And now, surprise, surprise, after they poked everybody, suddenly we have this infertility problem across the world. Huh. Who would have thunk it? It's almost... How do these preppers know what's happening before it happens? It's because we listen and we pay attention. Yeah. Anyway, moving over to Hong Kong, the toll has risen to 128 on the high-rise residential buildings that caught fire this week. Truly devastating. The deadliest blaze in Hong Kong's history. Such a tragedy. Moving over to something maybe a little more humorous, unless you were there, then it probably wasn't humorous at all. Toilet turmoil at the Tokyo airport terminal. Passengers face an uncomfortable wait for their flights at one of the world's busiest airports on Friday, with up to 70% of the toilets at Tokyo's Haneda Terminal 2 reportedly out of order. 51 of the total 144 toilet areas were still working, but with very long lines. The problem was caused by electrical issues with pumps supplying water to the facilities. Yeah, talk about a poo problem. A lot of people having to hold it really hard. So kind of humorous, but like I said, if you were there, it probably wasn't quite so funny. All right. Hopefully they bought their 5-gallon buckets with the toilet seats, right? I mentioned that on the Black Friday deals video yesterday. Kathy says, Northeast Wisconsin. Just to let you all know, Tyson Beef is closing down in Nebraska. It was a major meat producer in the Midwest and the Plains. The company employed over 3,000 people. Now these people are gone as of January 2026. Cargill may try to buy this plant, but who knows? Also, a major grain producer just filed for bankruptcy. It was buying grains from 35 states. Your wheat and other grains are in jeopardy. Hanson Mueller was the producer. It has left many of the farmers in limbo. The company said the tariff is to blame. I don't know. China's going to be buying a whole bunch of soybeans and grains, but anyway. Gee, 2 plants closing down in days apart doesn't sound like our economy is that strong. My sister's store is now searching for another meat producer in South Dakota. Please pray for the farmers and for our nation. You know, we have the big 4 meat packing companies across the United States that pack like 90% of the beef in the U.S. So if you pick up a package of beef, there's a 90% chance. Well, if it's in a big box store, it's even over a 90% chance that that's one of the big 4. And JBS is owned by foreign entities. When you look at pork, you've got Smithfield. That is a foreign entity owned by Chinese. It's a big mess. We have a meat shortage, and then on top of that, we also have absolute mismanagement and monopolistic opportunism happening. Steven says, I went to buy a newspaper and didn't find a single Black Friday ad. Go figure. Well, honestly, the biggest surprise to me is that you actually were able to find a newspaper. Those things still exist? Crazy. Newspapers. Anyway, Black Friday is not what it used to be, and it's become the Black Friday month or something like that. I don't know. Amazon started over a week early, and then of course they got Cyber Monday still, so that's going to be a thing too. Just sales and more advertisements digitally. They just want to link you straight over there, apparently. Remember, friends, strong mental attitude, right? Just buy the stuff that you were already going to buy for a discounted price, or if you're going to buy stuff, you can wait till those sales to buy the things that you're going to buy anyway. That's how we save money. Spending money on things that you didn't want to buy in the first place is not the way to spend money. It seems like a whole lot of Americans, a whole lot of people around the world need to hear this very basic truth. I know, once again, I'm preaching to the choir. You guys already know that. Debt is not a good thing. It's not a good place to be. Lewis from Indiana says, the other day when I bought a money order at Walmart, I had to show my state-issued ID to purchase the money order. What a pile of it is. The U.S. Postal Service charges a higher fee for the money order, but you don't have to show ID to buy a money order. So if you want to keep anonymous, just use the U.S. Postal Service, right? Morto says, carrots were so bitter I had to throw them away in New York. I hate wasting food. And like I said, with that, the Mexican truckers are blockading, skip down to that. Desert says, from Arizona, Mexican citizens are blocking produce trucks from entering the U.S. They're calling it the mega blockades, shutting down highways and hindering trucks' access to U.S. ports of entry. This is extended into the 6th day today, unless it gets resolved in these morning hours or something. It's triggering significant delays in the transportation of goods, especially produce. Produce is going bad on those trucks, and they can't get it across the border, which means they're not going to be able to get it to you. If you need some produce in the next week, you might want to stock up right now. You might want to go to your grocery store and grab the fresh produce that you need, or be prepared to buy frozen, okay? Salty Stone says, I put up cereal in Mylar bags a couple years ago. Not the best thing to stockpile, but anyway, I'm not talking about health-wise. I'm just talking about it's not the best thing to stay good. But recently I decided we need to eat some of that stuff. I folded them over a couple times and sealed them one at a time with a hot iron. They are not edible. They taste terrible, like fuel oil or something. I have thrown out a bunch. The cereal looks perfect, but yucky tasting. Due to this, I have decided to just buy large canning jars and pressure seal them there. That works very well. I have saltines in them for months, but when I use some, I have to reseal them again. I think that they're probably using like a vacuum sealer. That's what they're talking about. They're obviously not talking about canning, water bath or something like that, saltines or cereal. How do you guys keep your cereal fresh? They come in those plastic sacks, which we all don't like. What's your best methods of keeping cereal fresh? Share that with us down in the comments down below. Sally says CME, which is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, shut down their silver futures. They are saying it was a cooling issue with the data center. Okay, now just as silver hits an all-time high, suddenly, which has been manipulated lower significantly time and time again, suddenly the Mercantile Exchange suddenly has a issue with cooling. Sure it does. How come they've never had this problem with any other futures market? Just the silver market. Anyway, the longest technical outage of the CME said that all futures trading activity, including gold and silver markets, has resumed just ahead of North America's trading session. Yeah, mostly impacting silver though. Trading on the CME was halted overnight following a technical disruption, quote, due to a cooling issue at Cyrus 1 data centers. Our markets are currently halted. Now, if you've ever sat through, like anyone walking you through the charts for silver, you can see that people or somebody likes to drop billions of dollars worth of silver in the lowest liquidity moments of the silver market, which is a clear act of manipulation. They lost, every time they do that, they lose a whole bunch of money unless they have a corresponding large amount of shorts that they're then benefiting from, which is exactly what they're doing. These banks have been at this for years. Desert says, we already read that one. Raptured says Florida Times Union newspaper went up from $2.50 to $2.69, so another increase there. The articles are written about frivolous topics, waste of money. We'll use it now to clean my car windows. Newspapers usually aren't worth the paper they're printed on these days. Epoch News, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I find them to be really useful. They are a conservative newspaper, and they have online stuff. That's where I read a lot of my news from. They are actually a really good thing. That's not an affiliate thing or anything. I like them. Anyway, I think they actually have paper copies too, if you want them. Susan says, my niece lives in Pennsylvania, and she said her local grocery store had turkeys for $2.99 a pound. That was the lowest that she saw. Other people saying 25 cents a pound right after Thanksgiving here now. A lot of people are selling their items, trying to get money to pay bills though. I know several people either minimizing or not doing anything for either Thanksgiving or Christmas. I had someone driving by my house see my door open, no lights on. It was a bright day with tons of light, and report a health and welfare check to the police. They showed up asking if I had heat, lights, and water and food. I told them that we are fine. We don't need any help. It was nice, but I wasn't going to say anything about what I am. It's saving some money, right? My family, not real big on the Halloween thing. We found that Halloween's about candy, and you can buy that candy a lot cheaper a couple days after Halloween. It's not a terrible idea to celebrate holidays a couple days late. You can celebrate Thanksgiving on Sunday. And by that point, you can then pick up some great turkey deals and other Thanksgiving foods on sale, right? Jeff says, Utah, not just detergent, but good toilet paper is worth gold to a sore rear. 6 years ago, I bought a massive amount of toilet paper when on sale and filled unused room in the basement. Also, different detergents / soaps. I look at prices now and I am shocked. I stack toilet paper around the outer walls of the basement. It works like insulation top to bottom and a basement warmer. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining with us. Thanks so much for your reports. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold, there's a link right there on the screen. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.